Good morning, everyone. Now, as everybody's making their way to their seats, I want to take this incredible honor to welcome all of you to the 6th Annual Stomach Cancer Education Symposium and Webinar. Although look around the room and you see people seated here, we have quite a few people that are calling in from all over the world. And I want to thank all of you who attended in person. And I'd like to thank all the people who dial in on the webinar. I'm Libia Scheller. I am on the board of directors, and I got involved with Debbie's Dream Foundation many years ago, and so happy and proud to be part of this organization, and I will be your moderator today. Next, just a couple of housekeeping things. Please, if you have your cell phones, just put them on silent. Our exits, the only rooms that we have exits are these two rooms here on the left-hand side. My left, your right, will be open, and you can go in and out. We have a ladies' room, I think, right around the corner, and a men's room right around the corner here. We also have lunch will be served, free lunch at 11:45. We'll break for lunch, and it's in the back of the room. And if you haven't had breakfast yet, please help yourself to the food in the back of the room. As you walked in, as you walked in, you received this blue folder. So if you open this folder, there's quite a few things in here. I just want to go over a couple of things. First of all, you will see that, we're always trying to improve ourselves and find out how we can do things better. And your feedback is very, very important to us. So please, take time and to give us some feedback. There is a survey in here that and notes you can take here. There's a survey, as you can see, it's in the back. There's a question here, like what your thoughts were. So please fill this out and give it back to us at the end of the day. Thank you very much. In your packet, you will also have the agenda for today and some other information. One of the things, as you know, you might have a lot of questions. It's very important for us today to make sure you came here for information, that you get all your questions answered. So there's different ways of doing this. You can write your question on these blue, as you can see, these blue little poster cards here, or you'll have microphones. We have people running up and down the aisles with microphones. You can ask that way. And hopefully we will be able to get to everyone. Those of you who have dialed in on our webinar, we're happy to say that, I will be moderating in the front and looking at your questions, and we'll be asking the questions for you. So please feel free to ask all the questions, all of you who are on the phone. And hopefully we'll get to all your questions. Next slide. I'm trying to get to the next slide here. Okay, next slide. One of the things, we have a lot of events going on, and one of the things that we have going on tonight is the Dreammakers Gala. So I'm inviting all of you, please, if you'd like to come to the gala tonight, please see us at the back of the room and buy yourself a ticket. We'd love to have you. It's an incredible event. We also have the 2nd annual Dream Big Luncheon will happen in Fort Lauderdale on September 26th of this year. We have the Denim for Debbie 2006. This is going on internationally and will start on November 2nd. We have our 3rd annual Fayetteville, all of those who play golf out there, in North Carolina golf tournament in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So get those clubs out November 5th. In 2017, just bring it up because it comes quite early in the year. On January 29th, we have the Miami Marathon and Half Marathon, and it is really a fun event. If you don't run or walk, please come out and support. We have a tent there. Come out and support and cheer the runners on. So please, if you'd like to come to any of these events, please check out our website or talk to anybody here about that as well. So come out. Next slide will show our contact information is on this slide. Contact of our office hours and general inquiries, emails are included there as well. Many people ask this. Today's presentation, there's going to be a lot of topics. We are actually recording this today and will be posted in 1 to 2 weeks on our website. So please check it out. If you want to review any of the particular content, you'll be able to go back and do that as well. There are ways that you can connect with us, so please feel free to go onto our website or check us and like us on Facebook, on Twitter, and different ways of LinkedIn to connect with us and follow us in that manner. One of the things, in order to do something this incredible, we have these wonderful sponsors who helped us gather funds and support for this wonderful educational event. I'd like to thank our friend of Debbie's sponsor, Madeline and Danny Zelman, who are in the back of the room. Thank you very much. We also have the supporting sponsors, Debbie Zelman and Andrew Gutman, Norman Dinkle, the Cleveland Clinic of Florida, and Pat and Maureen Campola. Our silver sponsor is Genentech. Our gold sponsor is EMD Serrano. Our title sponsor is Boston Biomedical, and I'd like to thank very much our national title sponsor, Lilly Oncology. So thank you all. We would not have been able to do this wonderful education without you. Another thing I want to bring your attention to is the Cancer Experience Registry. And if you look at the slide, it tells you a little bit of background on it. And what happens is Debbie's Dream Foundation and the cancer support community have partnered on the Cancer Experience Registry for stomach cancer. This registry provides an online community connecting patients and caregivers. And this registry, what it aims to do is to better understand all those issues that are important to people that are impacted by stomach cancer. And also it gives a voice to those who are affected and allow for all of you to share all your experiences. Very good place to do this. And we are joined today by incredible representative of the cancer support community, Jamesy Johnson, if you're in the room. Raise your hand. Thank you so much. Who is available to answer any of the questions you have and to help anybody who's interested in registering today to this incredible endeavor. So you can find out any information in the registration table out back. And just want to let you know a little bit about the goals of this registry. The goals of this registry are actually designed to help and influence an individual's experience of cancer and identify the needs and the concerns of patients and caregivers and develop programs to help address issues and to enhance research and treatments. So please, see Jamesy in the back of the room, and if you want to know more about this. So we'll have time during the lunchtime, and at the end of the day, then I'm sure she would be happy to speak with you. Another thing, it's very important that if you go to our website, you can see the fourth tab over, it says how to take action. How to take action into this wonderful organization. A way to take action is you can go and hit the Take Action button, and you will see that you can volunteer. There are ways of volunteering. You can join advocacy efforts. You can donate online, or you can donate here today. And just want to let you know that in your folder, there's an envelope here. If you'd like to donate today, please, feel free to use the envelope that's in here and give it to one of the wonderful people in the back of the room that are helping us out. And thank you so much for your donations in advance. One of the things I want to do is review our agenda. We have an incredible agenda today. I just want to make note that there are some little changes to our agenda. So as you can see here, I'll be your moderator today, and in a few minutes I'll be introducing to you an incredible person who helped put a lot of this together. Is our committee chair will be Peter Sprague. And then it will be followed by Debbie's Dream Foundation Background and History by our president and founder, Debbie Zelman. At 9:15, we will have the Stomach Cancer Patients and Caregivers panel. As you can see, they're seated here to my left. A little change on the agenda. We will have Dr. Jaffer Ajani, who will talk about non-surgical treatment options. followed by novel surgical options by Dr. Martin McCarter, followed by at 11 o'clock, radiation oncology by Dr. Christopher Willett, and then we'll break for lunch. Just for lunch, if you are a patient or a survivor, we're gonna have a quick photo of all of you during lunchtime, so please, once we break, please come to the front and so we can take a picture. After lunch, we will be followed by an incredible presentation by Dr. Adam Bass on genomics and biology in the treatment of stomach cancer, followed by a presentation on clinical trials and immunotherapy by Dr. David Ilson. Then we will have Kathleen Wessa. Dr. Kathleen Wessa will speak on integrative medicine and nutritional considerations, and then we'll close the session. So we have a packed-full agenda, and if you want to know anything more about these incredible speakers today, I'd like to invite you to look into your packet, and you'll see their biographies listed there. So without further ado, I'd like to get started today, and I'd like to introduce you to our chair of this symposium, Peter Sprague. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Scheller. Just want to welcome everybody that's in this room attending live, as well as the folks around the world watching the webinar. We have a good program for you today, like Dr. Scheller just highlighted. I'd like to thank a few people that helped make this day possible. Our symposium committee, Dr. Kiefer Ben-David, Robert Benson, Pat Campola, Dr. Cindy Collins, Dylan Larson, Stacy Roberts-Davis, Dr. Libia Scheller, Rob Schaffel, Dr. Antonio Ukar, and Dr. Danny Zelman. Thank you so much for all the work that you've done to make this day possible and continue to do year after year. I ask you guys every year, and you always answer the call. I would also like to thank our sponsors, again, very much for making this day and this program possible. And of course, I'd like to thank our speakers. It's amazing how every year you guys give up your time that's so precious to come here and do this very important work. We thank you, your audience thanks you. Your words will live on in perpetuity on our video library for any patient to see, newly diagnosed tomorrow or next week. Very important work you're doing here today, and I really appreciate it. I'd like to invite to the stage a rare individual who has turned her personal struggle into a mission to raise awareness about stomach cancer and increase funding for research for stomach cancer. Please join me in welcoming the president and founder of Debbie's Dream Foundation, Debbie Zelman.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pete and Libya. It's a pleasure to be with everyone this morning. So a little brief history about me. Many of you may know I was diagnosed with stage 4 stomach cancer in April 2008. At the time, I had 3 young children. I was only 40 years old. I was a practicing attorney, married to a physician. I had no risk factors for the disease, and my chances of being alive in 5 years was 4%. However, I am now 8 years out. But a lot of people don't realize I've had 9 recurrences, 4 of which have been in the last 2 years. So I am still a patient. I did start the foundation about a year after I was diagnosed, and I'm proud to tell you that we have come far. We are a member of the Deadliest Cancers Coalition, the Patient Equal Access Coalition, the State Patient Equal Access Coalition, and One Voice Against Cancer. I am also personally an advocate on the National Cancer Institute Esophagogastric Task Force, the NCI Patient Advocacy Steering Committee, the NCCN Gastric and Esophageal Guidelines Committee, the CDMRP Department of Defense Peer Review Cancer Research Programmatic Review Panel, the ASCO HER2 Testing Guidelines Panel, and the American Cancer Society Research Program Stakeholder. And a lot of people tell me, though, my most notable achievement has been that I appeared on Dr. Oz in a segment about stomach cancer. So some facts about stomach cancer, and you will hear several of these today from the physicians. Unfortunately, it is one of the leading causes of cancer death worldwide. It is second in men and 4th in women. Each year, nearly 1 million people are diagnosed with stomach cancer, and 700,000 will die. More than 25,000 Americans each year will be diagnosed with cancer, and about 11,000 will die. Stomach cancer is now, unfortunately, on the rise in young people, ages 25 to 39. And really notable is per cancer death in the US, it receives the least amount of federal funding of any cancer. When I was diagnosed, there were few resources for stomach cancer patients, and little was known for support. Most people still know very little about the disease. But I'm happy to tell you that at Debbie Stream Foundation, we are making a difference, and many of you already know that because you are here today or on the webinar. So Debbie Stream Foundation is a nonprofit dedicated to raising awareness about stomach cancer, advancing funding for research, and providing education and support internationally to patients, families, and caregivers. And our ultimate goal is to make the cure for stomach cancer a reality. Everyone in the room and on the webinar, please do go to our website, debbiestream.org. We've reached many milestones. I'm just so proud of everyone who is involved with us, whether it's our patient resource education program and the mentors we provide. It's just incredible. You're not alone through this diagnosis. We also hold symposia like this. Now we've actually held one in Chicago with plans to hold others throughout the country. We also conduct webinars. Everything is free. All education is free that we hold. We have chapters in the United States, Canada, and Germany. We have events across the US and Canada. We've actually given away $350,000 in grant funding. We have had 4 Capitol Hill Advocacy Days and a Capitol Hill briefing. We have been instrumental and the sole force for securing stomach cancer to be included in the Department of Defense Peer Review Cancer Research Program, which is a $50 million pot of money that is given to 11 different cancers. But prior to Debbie's Dream and her advocacy efforts, stomach cancer was not one of them. However, now it is. And then again, the website is just so rich in information, and I really do direct all of you to go there. Our leadership, we cannot be as successful as we are without our leadership. Our 14 board of directors, our 30 medical advisory board, many of whom are speaking today, a corporate advisory council, and our honorary board. And one of the newest members of our honorary board is Monica Seles, the tennis player a lot of you know, whose father and coach died of stomach cancer. Listing right here on your screen of our medical advisory board. We're so proud of them and all that they achieve and all that they give to our organization. And before I conclude, I just want to point out that one of our speakers today is Adam Bass, who is an award recipient for us tonight. Anyone, again, who wants to join us at our gala, we are thrilled to honor him with the Medical Tree of Life Award. So on that note, I will turn it back over to our moderator. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Debbie. Isn't she an incredible woman, and what she's achieved with bringing people together? It's just such an honor to be working with her and this organization. You know, I'd like to point out, you know, it's patients and the survivors and the caregivers that I think is really important to hear from. So I want to introduce you to this incredible panel that we put together today of incredible heroes, actually, who have been diagnosed with either stage 2 or stage 3 or stage 4 stomach cancer, and also caregivers. So as you can see here on the panel, we have the first person is Angela. For all the way over, we have Angela Bosela, who is a stage 2 stomach cancer individual who was diagnosed, who is also part of our Ohio chapter, and she's our Ohio chapter leader. We have Tony Leonard, who was diagnosed with stage 3 stomach cancer and is also the North Carolina chapter leader. And we have Christy Leonard, who was also diagnosed, actually she's the caregiver of the stage 3 stomach cancer, Tony Leonard, who's also from our North Carolina chapter leader. So let's give them a round of applause to these incredible heroes. And, you know, I'd like to start first by having them introduce themselves And can you please tell us how and when you were diagnosed or your family was diagnosed, family member, and the treatments that you've had or undergone or are currently on, just so you all can get an idea of what they've gone through. So let's start with Christina.
Hello, good morning. My name is Leonard. My husband Tony was diagnosed with stage 3C Leonidas plastica gastric cancer on February 4th of 2012. He had a complete total gastrectomy, went through 25 rounds of chemo radiation. The chemotherapy was Zelota, and his chemo was EOX. And he's still with us, which is a miracle because they didn't think he would be.
Good morning. My name is Tony Leonard.
Can you please speak into the mic so we can hear? Thank you.
Yes, my name is Tony Leonard. I was diagnosed in February of 2012, and she pretty much covered everything I was going to say. But yes, I'm a 4-year stomach cancer survivor, and it's been a very interesting journey. I can't really say a whole lot other than to fight the fight, never give up, you know. So I'm gonna pass the mic.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to Rebecca. Oh, I'm sorry, Angela.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Angela Bosela, and I was diagnosed with stomach cancer 2007. I was operated on in January, but I came from Italy when I was 16 years old, and I learned English on my own, and at the age of 55, I started getting sick. So I called the doctor and went to the doctors, and he found out that I had a cyst in my liver. It was as big as a cantaloupe. So they went in and they drained it. So then I went home, and then a week later, I'm still sick. I couldn't understand why. So I called the doctor again, and he ran more tests, and that's when they found out I had a big ulcer, and it was stomach cancer. So they removed 70% of my stomach, and I had a 4 round of chemo and radiation, and I had a 5FU. And after 3 years, I started to become a runner, and I ran like 12 half a marathon, 5K, 10Ks. I ran for Debbie, New York City, and 2 Miami, Florida.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. And as you can see, many of you in the audience, you probably can have some resonance with what you heard, because that's probably you as well who were diagnosed. One of the things that's important to know is the challenges that we all face as caregivers, as friends, as patients, and I thought that would be a good question to have them talk about. You know, Christina, as you know, the caregiver, what was your biggest challenge that you had when Tony was first diagnosed, and also, you know, throughout, anything you would like to share on that avenue?
It's funny because you say that and my heart starts to race every time, because I have 5 boys and they were 18 months old up to 19. So when Tony was diagnosed, my biggest challenge, of course, going through the emotions, you're crying, you know, the first thing I checked was Tony's life insurance and our health insurance, because honestly, as a caregiver, you're dealing with the financial side, you're dealing with the emotional side. Right. I looked up the statistics, and then I looked at my kids, and when you have 5 boys at 5 different ages, what you tell an 18-month-old is not what you're going to tell a 19-year-old. So the biggest challenge was dealing with the kids, telling the kids how dad was sick or why he was sick, and then of course they all wanted to know a different thing. So you're balancing that, still trying to give them a normal life, while making sure that your warrior is getting the best treatment that they can. So we were very blessed, and we went straight to Duke. Because we live in North Carolina, we had that ability. But the biggest challenge, you're going through the motions of, getting treatment over here. And while the patient's in bed, you're still working, you're still cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, doing the grocery shopping, you're still doing all of that. And that's probably, honestly, like the biggest challenge, right? So then treatment ends, and your warrior gets a cold, or their back hurts, or whatever, and you wonder, which doctor do I have to call? Do I call the oncologist? Do I call their general doctor? Is it cancer? Is there reoccurrence? Is it just, you just need some Dayquil and you'll be fine? So I think that's the balance. The balance of family, the balance of decision-making, and when it's all said and done, getting your family back together and going through the motions of the new normal, and realizing that there is life after cancer, and your kids don't have to have that fear that their dad isn't going to be there anymore, and as a wife, not having that fear that he's not going to be there, because he is. So it's a lot as a caregiver, but that would be the balance is probably the biggest challenge.
Yeah, and that's an incredible thing that you've gone through, and I think you would all agree with me. With 5 boys, that's an incredible feat. Juggling your finances, the shock of it all, finances, and then telling your family, a lot going through. And as you can see, can't forget about our caregivers who give so much to the patients and helping juggle all of that. So let's get a perspective from Tony, what it was like, being diagnosed as a stage 4, which is, your metastatic stomach cancer. What was your experience, and what was your greatest challenge at the time?
It's the what if, what's gonna happen to my family, life insurance, that's the biggest thing. My job, how am I gonna support my family? I have 5 kids. I coach football. Who's gonna take care of my kids? How? My wife has to juggle everything on her back. Pretty much your health. How bad is it? Am I gonna live or die? Once everything starts, you don't think, it's really big, but around stage 4 of radiation, people that has had radiation, you feel like God has struck you with a hammer, because there's not a whole lot you can do but barely get out of the bed. Or even when you get chemo, it takes everything you got to even walk or move. You don't expect the meds or the treatment to take everything you have and pull it out of you to where you can't do anything. People say fight the fight, and you're going through this, and you think, how can I do this? It's so draining, and so just giving everything you have to move. But the first time my baby crawled in my bed to give me a kiss, it completely woke me up and gave me that life again when I looked into his eyes and says, Daddy is here. I'm gonna do everything I can do. You have to have faith, heart, the will to live, to fight, to know you're not gonna give up for your children. And that's the biggest thing that you can do for your family and your wife when she's coming in there after, a long day at work, cooking dinner, coaching football, soccer, dealing with 5 boys, getting them showers, and finally coming to bed saying, is there anything I can do for you? Life is tasking, and then dealing with a cancer patient on top of it is even more. So it's just a lot on top of a lot.
Tony, thank you so much for your courage. going through this, and I think you could attest, this is an incredible dynamic duo here, that the universe has brought you an amazing family and woman to support you in this. So thank you for sharing your challenges. And now let's move over to Angela. Angela, can you share with us what your greatest challenges were being diagnosed as a stage 2 patient?
5 weeks carrying a pump and radiation every day, and that was hard. But it did not stop me. Going to work every day, I never took off. Getting up, working outside to trim shrubs, babysitting my grandchildren, and I did whatever it takes to be strong and tough and beat the cancer, because I wanted to see my son getting married. I wanted to see my grandchildren growing up, and that's about it.
Thank you for that. I think,
And I did it, and I'm 9 years cancer survivor.
Yay, congratulations. As you can see, the fight is, for your family and your friends, to fight as a patient. I think that's what I'm hearing, that you want to live a normal life and get back to your life, but be strong for them. So thank you so much for that. And, the next question I want to go back, as you know, there's a lot of people who are online. They're calling from all over the world here. And, I just go back to let you know that we have about 112 people on the webinar from 6 countries. From Australia, Canada, Great Britain, Greece, India, and the United States. And as you can see around the room, we had 85 people register in person. And I want to ask this question to all those people who are on the webinar and here in person. What would you say would be the best thing, like the best tip that you can give to everybody in the audience today and on the webinar that you think they can really take home with them? So Christina, can you help us with that?
I have 2. The first one is Gatorade. Gatorade during chemo. Everyone at Food Lion knew when Tony was about to have chemo, because Gatorade or Powerade was on sale, and I would go buy like 20 or 30 bottles to make sure that he was hydrated before chemo. So it's really, really important to stay hydrated. I got that tip from my late brother during his chemo. The second one is you have to have support, not just for the patient and the caregiver, but for your entire family. Your children, like Tony's mom, like I had to make sure that she had support because that's her baby. Making sure that the children, your kids, the teenagers, half of their friends don't understand what they're going through when they have to step up, right? So you have to have a support. And what I tell people is, if there isn't support immediately right then and there, start support for your kids. Start something. We have a cancer party, if you will, every summer at our house, no matter what kind of cancer you have, and it's getting all the kids together because they understand what they're going through. They understand, so-and-so's, oh, mom's bald again, so we went and bought like 5 more wigs, and the other kids laugh about it because they're like, oh yeah, I remember when my mom went through that, or my dad doesn't care because, he's a man, or, the different medications, or how sleepy they are, or whatever. It's the kids don't like to kind of put their business out there because they feel like nobody understands, and so they tend to stay quiet and shut down. So it's really important to have support for your children and caregivers. I'm the worst. Go once a month and do something for yourself and run away. I didn't do it for 3 years. It was the biggest mistake of my life. Just say to your warrior, I love you, but I need to go get a massage, or I need to go get my nails done, or I need to go running, or I need to go do something. But go do something. Take an extra 5 minutes at the grocery store, whatever it is you need to do, but take care of yourself.
Thank you very much, and that's a very, very good point, because taking care of yourself, you can help take care of others, especially those 5 boys. Tony, the same question to you.
Yes, the best tip I can give is never give up. It's very challenging to be a cancer patient. And sometimes you just want to give up and say, you know, I can't do it no more. You know, this is it. I can't hurt anymore. I don't have any more life in me. I don't have any more strength. And it's really easy to say, I don't want to do it anymore. It's really easy to give up. Your strength is gone. I mean, you can't say, I don't want another round of chemo. I don't want to do another day of radiation. You know, when you're leaned over the toilet and just giving everything you got, just coming out of you, it's very easy to lay in that bed and just give up. But you got to have faith. You have to have will to want to live and give, you know, that one more day, you know, that last round of chemo, that last round of radiation, to want to live, to see your baby give you a hug and a kiss, and know that tomorrow is going to be a better day. You have to give it the chance and, you know, the will and the hope. Because without hope, there's no life. Without the faith, you know, you're giving up. There's no will to live. Even if you have 1% left, that's 1% more than 0%. So you have to give everything you got and want to know that, hey, there is another day and the sun will shine, you know, another day. That's it.
Great words of advice. Thank you, Tony. Angela, what kind of tip or tips you can share with our audience?
Well, be strong. Take one a day at a time. Do whatever you like to do. Keep on doing the same thing you've been doing. And keep it busy. That's about it.
Incredible. Thank you so much. You know, it's incredible. You probably can hear from these amazing three individuals, heroes, that you probably feel the same way on a couple of things as well, tips that you can give to people as well, and, you know, share those with others to keep strong. And one of the things that we are so happy about, that the Debbie's Dream Foundation has done so much for patients. The caregivers and our staff have done a lot for patients, and we're so happy that many patients have called us, have donated to us, have their time and effort. And one of the things I want our panel to share is, how did you get involved with the Debbie's Dream Foundation and what it has done for you in your life? Let's start with Christy.
So, Libya, I was thinking about something, the last question you asked and the answer, and how it's going to kind of pour into this as well, because something I left out that I really, really want to make known is extremely important at the end of the day as a caregiver, that your warrior is your spouse or your mom or your dad or your brother. And it is so easy to get wrapped up in the medical side of it that you almost forget that when you crawl in bed at night with that person, that you take that extra 5 minutes and tell and remind yourselves that you guys are married and that you're still in love and why you're fighting. So I want to encourage everybody that, you know, no matter what, don't forget the relationship that you have with your warrior. And the way that we found Debbie's Dream Foundation was, I was looking for another spouse that was going through what I was going through, that I could just kind of vent to. That's all I wanted. I wanted someone to talk to. And so I did. We Googled, you know, stomach, you know, whatever, and Debbie's Dream Foundation came up, and I called, and Tony will share more about the phone call that he got, but the exciting part was that we did get a phone call back, and we were able to be introduced to this amazing, I don't even want to call it an organization, amazing family, because that's truly what Debbie's Dream is. It is a huge family. When you see everybody's faces and, oh, how's so-and-so doing, or did you see what so-and-so posted on Facebook, or, you know, whatever the case may be, and Debbie's Dream Foundation has given us the opportunity to give back. And that, for me, is so important. I'm the type of person where when somebody or a group does so much for us, I have to give back. And so that's why we have the golf tournament in North Carolina. It's our 3rd annual coming up. It's actually on Tony's birthday this year. So it's exciting that Debbie has given us the opportunity to go on Capitol Hill and meet with all the North Carolinians and say, this is a problem. We have the best hospitals in our state. We have got to do more. And I wouldn't be able to do that just sitting at home with, juggling him and the kids and work and all that stuff. And so Debbie's given us that opportunity and opened the doors for us to go scream and shout and do something for stomach cancer. And that is honestly what Debbie's Dream is about. And it's awesome to be a part of it. It really is. So.
Thank you, Christy. How about you, Tony?
We met Debbie's Dream. When I first met them, I was making my way from the bedroom to the kitchen to get something to drink, and the phone rings, and Chrissy's like, hey, it's Debbie's Dream. I'm like, who? She's like, just talk on the phone. And I said, hello, and the phone answers. She answers, say, hey, this is Gay from Debbie's Dream. I said, who? I don't want to talk to no Debbie's Dream. I was grumpy, I didn't feel good. And she's like, yeah, talk to this lady. She's a cancer. I said, I don't want to talk to no lady from cancer patient. So I talked to her, and I finally started talking, and she's, hello, I'm Gay from Debbie's Dream. And after about 5 minutes, she's got the same issues, and she's telling me the same stuff and how to do this and what would make me feel better when I get out the bed, walking in to the living room without shoes on, and your neuropathy, and opening the refrigerator door, and there's the little things that you need to talk to people about, or just the little things like needing somebody to talk to that has the same issues that you have, not feeling like that you're alone and you have nobody out there that has the same issues that you have, knowing that there's other people out there that have the same issues and know what's going on and feel like you do, taking the same drugs or medication that you have to take, and so forth. And it was a huge help to know there's an organization out there that has people that know about cancer and feel the way you feel, and that gives you a shoulder to cry on. You can call them, and not give up, and give you that little bit of, hoorah that you need to take another step, and so forth. And I speak a lot about hope and faith and not giving up and so forth, and that gives you a big boost, I say, big kick of faith in the butt, that to say, hey, we're here for you. And they're a great organization. So, thank you.
Thank you, Tony. How about you, Angela?
When I got my cancer, I didn't know anybody who had stomach cancer. After a couple years, I saw an article in a newspaper about Debbie, and I said to myself, I told my husband, I can't believe it. She's so young and beautiful and have young kids. And so I was excited to see that in the paper because I didn't know anybody with stomach cancer. And then after a while, I saw something else about this one girl, I don't know, she worked in the office, I can't remember the name, but she was a runner. And so I emailed her and I said, I would like to run a full marathon for Miami. And what did I have to do to get ready? So she gave me some information to do. So then I started to run, and I did 17 miles that one day. And I said, I think I'm going to do it this time. But then I got sick, and I didn't go. And then the following year, I signed up, and I did the half. And that's when we joined with Debbie's Dream. That was the best thing for us.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much, panel, for sharing of yourself. I'd like to open it up to questions. Anybody, I'm actually going to sit down and see if there's any questions. If there's any questions, so let's start with up here. We have a question here.
Kind of late. What happened during stage 1 that you people were not aware to go to the physician to see what was the problem?
When I was stage 3, almost, you know, very close to stage 4. I didn't have any symptoms. I had a little bit of burning in my stomach when I ate. You know, I love hot food. So I used to eat a lot of hot food, and I just had a little bit of indigestion in my stomach, and I was pretty close to my 40-year checkup, and my wife said, you know, I'm gonna make sure I tell your doctor to check that out, because I never would have. No. Like I said, I was very lucky that my doctor cared and didn't just issue me some antacid and, you know, say, have a nice day.
I'll be honest with you. I'm going to piggyback off of what Tony said. So usually when you're diagnosed, it isn't until you've kind of gone through the motions that you step back and say, what's been going on for the past year? And Tony had actually had some heartburn that had been going on for about 6 months that we just kind of ignored because his dad got really bad heartburn. And then we later found out when we told his mom that he had stomach cancer that her father died of stomach cancer. So it's really important that you kind of dig deep into your family roots as well, because stomach cancer, there really aren't any symptoms. His endoscopy was actually clear. It was the biopsies that were positive.
So you say it's genetic?
His is not genetic. He actually had genetic testing and it came back negative. Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of luck that they found my stomach cancer. Because normally what makes stomach cancer so deadly is they don't find it until stage 4.
Well, that's what bothers me. Why the symptom, the symptoms, I should think, you know, if you have an upset stomach, you're feeling lousy, and why don't you see the doctor in stage 1? I'm a nurse, so I've had patients with cancer, and I'm so glad for this organization because I spread it too. And I worked in the operating room, and usually in the operating room, if it was a cancer of the stomach, I would say to myself, this poor patient, it isn't long, you know, but now I'm so glad there are so many survivors. And that's the first question I asked, what was your symptom? And a lot of them said they had ulcers. That was ulcers, or I'm eating wrong, or things like that. So I give you credit, and God bless the 4 of you and your family. It's important about having a caregiver, most important. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so like in Asia, they do endoscopies year-round as a part of their physicals. If we can get that incorporated here in the States, that would be something phenomenal to try to find stomach cancer. You know.
I felt right below here pain, and I used to tell my husband, if I feel like I have a hole in my stomach. It took 7 months to find it. And then when the doctor put it on me, it went all through the stomach except the thin layer. I was very lucky. I put it on me right away on my daughter's birthday. So now we celebrated together.
We do the same thing. Tony's surgery was on Aiden's birthday.
Yeah, January 24th.
Any other questions? I'm actually going to take, can anybody hear me? My microphone's not working. There is a question here about where are you being treated and what kind of genetic testing have you done? Tony and Angela?
I was treated at Duke, and they did the full genetic testing on me. They actually thought and swore up and down that mine was genetic, that my type of cancer is 99% genetic cancer type of cancer. Well, I'm sorry, genetic cancer. And it came up positive on a lot of other signs, and when they actually did the testing and so forth, thank God it wasn't genetic, because being genetic, all my children would have to have their stomachs removed when they came of age around in their early 20s. And that is the only, how can I say, cure they have right now for stomach cancers, to remove their stomachs.
They tested Tony for CDH1, which came back negative. He had the protein in the tumor, which is what made them think it was CDH1, but it wasn't, and it wasn't HER2. He was HER2 negative. His genetic report's like that thick. Yeah.
Wow. And we're also going to have a presentation a little bit later on genetic testing. How about you, Angela? Did you have any genetic screening?
No. I went, I was operated on at Akron General in Akron. And I don't know, anybody in my family had the cancer. Okay. I'm the only one.
Okay, thank you. Any questions in the audience for our panel? We have, okay, one in the back, please.
Hello. Hi, I just wanted to thank you guys for telling your stories, because as a cancer researcher, it's really important to hear what you guys have gone through, and it's really rewarding for me to know who, you know, our therapies or our work is going towards. And so I just really wanted to thank you, and I really appreciate you taking the time to tell your stories today. So thank you.
Okay, we're going to take, thank you so much. In the interest of time, we're actually a little bit behind here. What I'd like to do is, I'm sure that they will be open and happy to speak with each one of you, maybe during the lunch time or afterwards. So sorry to have to cut you off a little bit, but you know, feel free to ask this incredible panel. You know, one of the things I want to sum up, you know, basically what the word I heard that Christy brought up was warrior. You know, to be a warrior, to support others, do something for yourself at least once a month, never give up, have faith, will, and hope, be strong, and take one day at a time, and keep busy. So hopefully one way to keep busy is please join us in our plight here, Debbie's Dream Foundation, and please get involved. So let's give a round of great applause to these wonderful warriors. Thank you so much.